Hello parents, welcome to the Parents Guide to Gaming. Today we'll be looking into the game Among Us VR. Among Us VR is a game by Innisloft, Shell Games and Robot Teddy. It's based on the original game Among Us, which is a social deduction video game that we discussed in 2021. However, it's all in 3D now and has the capability of proximity chat, but more on that later. In brief, Among Us is an online multiplayer game that involves players acting as crewmates on a spaceship. As crewmates, your job is to complete your tasks. However, if you are chosen as the imposter at the start, your job is to wipe out everyone on the ship. If the crewmates complete all their tasks before the imposter kills everyone, or they vote the imposter out, they win. However, if the imposter kills everyone before then and doesn't get voted out, they win. When players find a dead body, they can report it, which causes a meeting with everyone on board, where they can choose to get someone kicked out of the ship, literally, or just continue on the game. You could also call an emergency meeting to get this discussion. So that sounds perfectly fine, but there are some negatives. As I mentioned earlier, you can choose to go into a proximity chat server, which basically means you talk to other people when you're near them in-game. What I noticed when researching for this video was that there is definitely a range. At 1 second you can be talking to what seems to be a 7-year-old, but then the other you can be talking to a 40-year-old. You can probably infer that the older players use much stronger language. You can also mute specific people if you want, and can always mute yourself. And if a player is being a bit too foul, you can vote kick them, and if they get enough votes, they just disappear from your game. However, if you choose, you can load into a text chat only lobby, which may be more comfortable for your child as they don't have to speak with anyone and no one speaks to them. In terms of movement, you move using your thumbsticks, and if you want, you can enable head-based movement. So if you want to turn, you just lean your head. If your child has had VR for some time, they should know what makes them nauseous and what doesn't. For me, it was perfectly fine moving around, but you can always change blindness strength, which limits what you see when moving and can make people feel more comfortable. It looks a bit like this. So other than proximity chat, it's a great game. When playing it for this video, I had a great time. It's thrilling when you'll either win as the imposter or vote them out. However, it is utterly petrifying when the lights are sabotaged by the imposter and you can hear him behind you chasing after you. But it's ridiculously fun, especially with friends you already know. Costing £7.99 on the MetaQuest, it's a steal when it comes to value for money. You can play it forever and not get bored. It's come to the time where I have to give my own personal rating. So this game is a 7+ to play the game and 13+ to use voice chat. However, I think this is the first time in Parents Guide to Gaming history in which I would raise the voice chat mode to 15+, and the 7+ I would raise to 10+. The game is constantly evolving, and seeing as it is brand new, they'll be giving out constant updates to fit with fan feedback. I would always recommend the parent playing a bit of the game before the child, and worst comes to worst and you don't want your child playing it, if you have had it less than 14 days and played it under 1 hour, you can refund it on the MetaQuest. That is all for today's instalment of Parents Guide to Gaming. It's been William from Parents Guide to Gaming and Planet Earth. Goodbye.